We've been told the Bible isn't a science book. Well, think again. Because of the book, None of These Diseases, two medical doctors make the case. While not being a scientific textbook, that doesn't mean the Bible doesn't actually contain science. And when it does, it is mind-blowingly, no, it is supernaturally accurate. Scientific nugget number 5. Circumcision, everybody's favorite subject in Old Testament times. Circumcision wasn't as popular as it is today. Really only one nation that practiced the act of circumcision. You guessed it, Israel. Circumcision, it was the practice that God instituted with Abraham. It was an outward sign of the covenant that God had made with him and his progeny. It was reiterated in the Mosaic covenant as a sign of that covenant. The male who represented his entire household, he received an external mark identifying him and his entire family as followers of Yahweh. And due to the spread of Christianity, progressively circumcision became the norm for Western civilization, but recently it has fallen on hard times.
It's a barbaric practice that people only do because it was done to them and because you feel like it's part of tradition now.
I agree.
Circumcision falling out of fashion with 10% fewer circumcisions in the U.S. It's seen as barbaric, torturous, a form of mutilation. But lo and behold, as the circumcision rates go down, guess what goes up? Bingo, HIV. Sexually transmitted diseases, urinary tract infections, off the charts. Did the Bible really know a little something about science after all? But wait, this is the even cooler biblical scientific fact regarding circumcision. Why did God prescribe circumcising male infants on the 8th day? If the circumcision were performed later, the healing process would actually take longer than it would for an 8-day-old infant because of prothrombin, one of the proteins. It's present in a newborn that helps it to clot. That peaks at 8 days after birth, and it goes down afterwards. Maybe God just got lucky with that one. So let's try scientific fact number 4, handling dead bodies. If we played a word association game, which I have been told is a very sinful thing to do, and I said the word Egypt, you might say pyramids, mummies, and of course, cigarette-smoking pharaohs.
Don't smoke.
Did you know that when the Egyptians prepared a body for the grave, they would put their bare hands inside of the dead body? I'm needing germ killer. Somebody help me. Removing organs by hand, blood, guts, brain, viscera. That's the same as blood and guts, Todd. They didn't even use a wet wipe.
Wipe.
No, don't wipe that off.
So it's not a surprise that the Egyptians were a people of epidemics, always struggling with mass illnesses. The Israelite approach to handling the bodies of the dead, a wee bit different. Numbers 19, that's in your Old Testament. Numbers 19, whoever touches the dead body of any person shall be unclean 7 days, and whoever does not clean themselves shall be cut off from Israel. God knew it long before we did. Don't touch a dead body, because whatever killed that person could kill you too. But maybe you're thinking, all right, anybody can get lucky twice. So let's try scientific biblical fact number 3. Leprosy.
Yeah, leprosy.
Prior to the microscope, we didn't have a good grasp on germs and communicable diseases. Therefore, or ergo if you prefer, diseases would be transmitted from the sick to the healthy by virtue of close contact. I mean, if you've got a family of 8 living inside of a tent, chances are someone's sick, everyone's going to get sick. One of the scariest diseases to get historically was leprosy. We tend to think of leprosy as just an ancient Old Testament disease, but it killed millions even in the 19th century. Doctors were having fits trying to figure out what's going on here until a wise doctor decided to take a look through a microscope and saw, hey, There are lots of leprosy bacteria down here. It's an infection and it can be transmitted by close contact. Boing! God's instructions to the Israelites, Leviticus 13. As long as he has the infection, he must live alone, outside of the camp. Once modern countries started enacting a leprosy quarantine, the numbers of leprosy cases plummeted. The disease was effectively beat. But chances are, you think, God just got lucky again. So let's look at medical nugget number 2. Plumbing. Got to tell you, of all of the modern day conveniences, indoor plumbing, it's way up on top of the list. But for most of human history, plumbing was a pipe dream. Yeah, that was intentional. Macmillan and Stern, in their book, None of These Diseases, take the example of Victorian-era England. Though some rich Brits had running water and plumbing, most of the poor in London, abject filth, epidemics, cholera, rampant through the city, killing both rich and poor. Though there were underground sewers, they had little running water to actually carry it away. So human waste sat there and spread disease, and people died eventually. A sharp young wit named Edwin Chadwick figured out that indoor plumbing and running water would move the human waste away from the city, making it more sanitary. But not before there was mass death from several cholera epidemics. Macmillan and Stern, in our book, point us again to the Bible, written thousands of years before the cholera epidemics of London. Deuteronomy 23. Designate a place outside the camp where you can go to relieve yourself as part of your equipment. Have something to dig with, and when you relieve yourself, dig a hole and cover up your excrement. Okay, it's not quite modern indoor plumbing, but evidently humans need direction to not live literally wallowing in their own filth. Now, if you still think God's really, 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 really lucky, let's conclude with scientific fact number 1, sex. The sexual revolution, the pill, it ushered in sex without consequences. No need for a monogamous bond between a husband and wife. It's all casual. It's hookup time. And the world tells us that's liberation. But all hookups produced was momentary pleasure with a lifetime of bad consequences. HIV, sexually transmitted diseases, abortion rates, Zoom, high rates of divorce, sexual abuse, broken relationships, liberation.
Oh, by the way, I was being sarcastic.
Does the biblical sexual ethic maybe, just maybe, seem old and frumpy now?
I'm kidding. It is Sarcasm 101.
Keeping marriage between one man and one woman monogamously for life, it wipes out the occurrences of abortion, STDs, and other unhealthy consequences of casual sex. Proverbs 5, drink water from your own cistern, running water from your own well. Let her be yours alone, never to be shared with strangers. It almost seems like the authors of the Bible had an inside line on this. Almost like keeping sex within the confines of a marital relationship is a good idea for everyone, or something. Now, you can call that luck, but I call it supernatural. You have every reason to stake your eternity on a book that knew much about science long before scientists did. Encourage you to check out the book that inspired this video, None of These Diseases. Can you think of any other scientific examples in the Bible? Let us know in the comments below.
In 2 Timothy 2:2, we find that Paul commanded us to train men who fulfill 2 requirements, men who were faithful and able. And by God's grace, the training center in Mexico City is doing that.
Mexico is just one of 17 nations the Masters Academy International trains men to fill empty pulpits. How many pastors could you equip? To learn more, visit wretched.org/pastor.